Everything about Merlot. After Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot is the second most popular red wine in the United States. It is also one of the most popular red wines in the world. It is made from red-skinned grapes, which can adapt to a variety of climates and produce food-friendly wines at a wide range of price points. It is known for having a smooth, sensuous texture and a friendly, approachable character. Merlot has a range of flavors from silky and plumy to rich and oaky. Merlot is cherished because it caters to a wide variety of tastes. Merlot is a French word that translates to the little blackbird. Merlot is also the name of a specific variety of dark-skinned grape that is frequently employed in the production of red wine. How would you describe the flavor of Merlot? Merlot is sometimes referred to as a chameleon because of its ability to adjust to a wide range of climatic conditions and take on the personality of its surroundings as well as the winemaking processes used. However, many people were under the impression that growing superb Merlot was simple, which led to an excessive amount of planting and an abundance of low-quality wines. Merlot is a red wine that is typically dry with a medium to full body, moderate to high alcohol content, and soft but noticeable tannins. It also typically has moderate acidity. Graphite, herbs, and blackberries are just some of the tastes that can be found in the greatest Merlot. Other flavors that can be found in this wine include black cherries, plums, and cocoa. When matured in wood, these flavors can frequently be found mixed with notes of clove, vanilla, and cedar. What color is a Merlot wine supposed to be? The utilization of grapes with a crimson skin pigment gives Merlot its characteristic deep red hue. When they are young, wines can range from being translucent to opaque with a rich ruby color. In general, the hue is paler than that of Cabernet Sauvignon and more opaque than that of Pinot Noir. A sparkle of brick or orange tones on the lip of the glass is one telltale sign that you have Merlot in the glass with you. As Merlot ages, its color shifts to garnet, experiencing a loss of pigmentation and brightness along the way. Merlot is also used to make rosé and white wine, even though these styles are much less frequent. How come the movie Sideways made Merlot such a household name? The impact that the film Sideways had on the demand for Merlot has been a topic of discussion in the wine business for many years. It is difficult to determine whether or not it was this wine that made Merlot notorious for its poor quality. Regarding this topic, there are three schools of thinking. The first school of thought contends that rather than tarnishing the image of Merlot, the movie gave birth to a whole new audience of Pinot Noir consumers who merely switched from one red wine to another. The second school of thought contends that the movie did not have a role in the demise of Merlot because that variety of wine was already in decline due to overplanting and the increased availability of subpar wines on the market. The third school of thought contends that one generation of wine drinkers was successfully turned off of Merlot as a result of the disdain for the wine displayed by the main character, Miles. Regardless of the impact that the movie had, the fact remains that there is bad, good, and magnificent Merlot, and it is the latter type of Merlot that is contributing to the red wine's current renaissance. How much alcohol is contained in a single bottle of Merlot? The climate in which the Merlot grapes were produced has a direct bearing on their level of alcohol content because ripeness is directly related to alcohol content. Merlot grown in temperate countries like as France typically contains 13 to 14% alcohol by volume AV, although Merlot grown in warmer climates such as California, Chile, and Australia can exceed 14.5% AV. Is Merlot a dry or a sweet wine? Dry is the typical type of production for Merlot. Remember that the sensation of tasting ripe fruit flavors such as cherries and plums is not the same as the sensation of tasting sweetness owing to the presence of sugar in the food. A dry wine is one in which the sugar that was present in the must that was created after pressing the grapes has been fermented by yeast into alcohol. Fully dry wine is produced when all of the sugar or almost all of the sugar is turned into alcohol. Sometimes a trace amount of sugar known as residual sugar, RS, is left behind after processing. It's possible that this was done on purpose to provide a sense of luxuriousness and sweetness to the wine, or it could be that the yeast was unable to complete the fermentation process. However, a wine can still be deemed dry even if it has a few grams of RS per liter. How many calories and carbs are there in a glass of Merlot? The average Merlot has a dry taste. Of course, just because a wine has a low or non-existent amount of sugar does not mean that it is calorie-free. There are calories in alcohol. In general, a serving of Merlot that is 5 ounces contains about 125 calories, while a bottle of Merlot that is 750 milliliters contains 625 calories. The presence of even a trace of residual sugar in a Merlot indicates that the wine contains carbohydrates, albeit in a relatively modest quantity. Dry wines often contain anywhere from 0 to 4 grams of carbs per serving. What is the proper way to serve Merlot? Merlot, like other red wines, has an ideal temperature range for serving. The concept of serving red wines at room temperature is out of date because the temperature inside people's houses varies greatly, going from freezing in the winter to scorching in the summer. Even at temperatures of 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, red wine should not be served in the typical home. When a Merlot is served at a temperature that is too high, the alcohol has a burning sensation while the flavors become jumbled. When it is too cold, the flavors and fragrances of the food become muffled. Merlot should be served between 60 and 65 degrees Fahrenheit, which can be accomplished by placing the bottle in the refrigerator for 15 minutes. If you don't end up drinking all of the Merlot in a bottle, just put the cork back in and store it in the refrigerator. The taste will maintain their quality for between 2 and 4 days. After that point, the wine will begin to deteriorate due to oxidation. At this point, it should be used in a dish that is braised with either meat or vegetables. Which dishes go well with a glass of Merlot? Merlot's popularity can be attributed, in part, to the fact that it can be found in a wide variety of styles and price points on the market. Merlots that are fruity and simple to drink go wonderfully with white and dark meats from poultry like chicken, turkey, and pork. They also pair well with midweek meals like pasta, burgers, and pizza. Styles that are more full-bodied, ripe, and meaty, and that typically have a higher alcohol content, are best suited to pair with foods that have more robust flavors, such as beef and lamb, hearty bean dishes, and game meats like deer and bison. It is recommended to pair roasted meats, duck, and mushrooms with traditional savory styles of wine, such as the Right Bank Merlot from Bordeaux. The trick is to find a wine whose body and taste intensity are comparable to those of the food you're preparing. Merlot versus Cabernet Sauvignon. What's the difference? Good question. While Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon are different grapes, in blind tastings, it can be hard to differentiate them, especially when grown in cooler climates. Why? Because they come from the same family of grapes sharing a parent, Cabernet Franc. Wines from this family have pyrazines, aromatic organic chemical compounds that produce bell pepper and herbal notes that are more prominent in cooler regions. Plus, Merlot in cooler regions like its homeland of Bordeaux develops firmer tannins, more structure, and savory character than in warm climates, making it easier to mistake for Cabernet Sauvignon. The two are often blending partners in red Bordeaux wine, Cabernet for its cassis, herbal undertones, and tannin structure, and Merlot for its supple texture and ripe fruit. Merlot is usually cheaper, fruitier, and softer than Cabernet, and is often perceived as less complex. What's the difference between Pinot Noir and Merlot? Again, these are two different red grapes. Pinot Noir is a thin-skinned variety that makes wines of moderate color and alcohol with high acidity, elegance, and perfume of red fruits, cranberries, raspberries, red cherries. Pinot Noir has long been famous with wine lovers for the haunting styles made in Burgundy, later embraced by mainstream American wine drinkers, notably after Sideways. Merlot has more tannin, body, alcohol, and a darker hue, and hails from the right bank of Bordeaux, where it has been made famous by the wines of Pomerol and Saint-Emilion. Do you like it? Kindly give your valuable response in our comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting and informative videos.